So we're continuing The In-Between by Marina Cohen, chapters 5 and 6. Quinn didn't know what to examine first. Her eyes flitted like a moth from the wine-colored carpet to the grand staircase with its ornate balustrade to its high ceilings where an enormous chandelier rained 1,000 glass teardrops. She breathed deeply. The air was fresh and a faint aroma lingered. Something pleasant and vaguely familiar, like a special soap Emma used, the one that smelled like cedar and Granny Smith apples and bluebells. "Wow," said Kara. "Wow," echoed Quinn, struggling to take it all in. "It's gorgeous," said Mrs. Costin. "Like something out of the time machine," said Josh. "Good thing we didn't stop," said Mr. Costin. "You miss so much if you stay on the interstate." Chairs were scattered about the lobby, each with its own small table and reading lamp. Only a few people milled around in large space, some in pairs, most on their own. Quinn barely took notice of any except one, a man sitting behind a spread of newspaper. He wore blue cotton pajamas. Taped to his wrinkled, veiny hand was a plastic tube, the kind the IV drip fitted to. He looked like he belonged in a senior's home or some kind of hospice. Then the grinding of an old elevator snatched her attention. "Check it out!" Josh made a beeline for the old-fashioned elevators, muttered about how it looked like the TARDIS from Doctor Who. The cramped metal cage was moving upward, and through the fancy bars, Quinn saw a short, stout woman with a thick mop of curly orange hair. She wore a uniform just like the doorman's. Beside her stood a woman in a pale pink dress. She was missing a shoe. "Kindly fasten your seatbelts and place your tables and chairs in the upright position," said the elevator operator in a squeaky voice. "This is the most interesting place I've ever seen," said Kara. "Yeah," said Quinn hesitantly. "Welcome to In-Between," said a woman in the chirpy voice. She stood behind the front desk wearing a velvet jacket similar to those of the doorman and the elevator operator. "We've been expecting you." Quinn bristled. How could they be expected when they didn't have a reservation? "That's funny," said Kara's mom. She approached the counter and dropped the overnight bag at her feet. "Because we certainly weren't expecting to come here." To the right of the woman's shoulder, Quinn noticed a large brass plaque. In deeply carved letters, it announced, "We've been expecting you." It was the In-Between slogan. The thin, pale woman tucked a strand of mousy brown hair behind her ear and then smiled. "Still, here you are. Now, how can I help you this evening?" "Have you two joined singles or a suite?" asked Mr. Costin. "Certainly," she said. "Which would you prefer?" The woman's smile seemed warm and friendly, but Quinn had a hard time trusting strangers, especially those who appeared excessively pleasant or polite. The name Persephone was engraved on the woman's tag, but Quinn decided to give the grinning woman a nickname, Phony. "Two adjoining," said Kara's mom. Then to Kara's dad, she said, "I'll stay with the girls." Quinn leaned over the marble counter, and Persephone reached for a dusty fabric-bound book with the word "Guest" embossed in gold lettering on the faded red cover. Next, she located a fountain pen, the kind that used real ink, and placed it beside the book. On the wall were row upon row of vintage bronze skeleton keys. Each was unique, different size with circular patterns, hearts, or crowns on the end. They dangled above the tiny oval plaques with numbers. Room numbers, Quinn suspected, though they hung in no particular order. Quinn had never stayed at a hotel that used real keys. Most had plastic key cards, like credit cards that you slide through a sensor, though her Aunt Deirdre had told her about a tiny hotel in Paris she once stayed at that still had brass keys attached to an enormous keychain shaped like the Eiffel Tower. It would have been great if the In-Between used gigantic cacti. "Did you need to swipe my credit card?" asked Kara's dad, pulling out his wallet and placing it on the counter. "Not necessary," said Persephone. Our policy is you pay when you leave." But don't you need an imprint? "You know, in case we break or steal something," Mrs. Costin said, laughing. Persephone shook her head and smiled. "We believe in good old-fashioned trust." Quinn scanned the counter. Except for the black dial phone, the kind with the receiver still attached to the base with a coiled cord, there was nothing even vaguely resembling technology. No computers, no printer, no photocopier. Old-fashioned didn't even begin to describe the place. "That's nice," said Kara's mother. "I like that. Not like those large chains." Perseverone opened the red book to a new page. The paper was thick and goose-fat yellow. "Oh, we're a very large chain. In fact, we have hotels all around the world." "Really?" said Kara's dad. "I've never heard of In Between before." Perseverone dipped her pen into a small plot of ink and scrawled the date. "Ah, well, we don't believe in a lot of advertising. Waste of money, really. We're often fully booked without it." She looked up and smiled again. "Name?" "Costin," said Kara's dad. "First, Spencer." Perseverone wrote his name under the date, and Kara's mom looked confused. "I'm afraid I need all the names," said Perseverone. "Hotel policy." Quinn looked at Kara and frowned. This hotel sure had strange policies, but Mr. Costin didn't seem bothered. He complied, listing everyone beginning with Mrs. Costin. The pen glided and curled until all the names were in the book, ending with Quinn Martin. Perseverone blew softly over the ink. She closed the book and turned toward the rows of keys, retrieving 2 and handing them to Kara's dad. "Here we are," she said. "Adjoining rooms, 2 queen beds in each. I hope you find these suitable." The keys looked different, but each had the exact same number engraved on its side, 0708. Quinn thought it was strange, but decided it must be because they were adjoining rooms, treated as a single room, and therefore with the same lock. Josh, who had given up on the elevator, hustled toward the counter. "I'm starving." "I'm afraid the restaurant is closed for the evening," said Perseverone, motioning to a set of French doors at the opposite end of the lobby. "But room service is open all night. Just dial 7 on your room phone." Josh's eyes widened. "Perfect." "How could you possibly be hungry?" said Mr. Costin. "You ate 2 dinners. Not to mention all the chips and chocolate bars in the car," added Kara. "That was light years ago," he scoffed. Quinn searched the lobby for a clock, but couldn't locate one. "What time is it, anyway?" Mrs. Costin pulled out her phone and tried to power it up. She pressed the button twice, but nothing happened. "Dead," she sighed, plucked it into her purse. She unzipped the overnight bag and rifled through it. "Oh no, I must have left the wall charger in the car." "I'll get it when I park," said Mr. Costin. "The valet has already parked your car," said Perseverone, "and unfortunately, there's not much use in charging your phone. Service tends to fade in and out around here, mostly out." Kara's dad searched his pockets. "I guess I left the keys." "But my tablet," whined Josh. Kara's mother cast him a frustrated look. Then she placed a hand on Mr. Costin's shoulder. "You're exhausted, honey. Don't worry about the charger. Let's just get some rest." She eyed Josh and frowned. A quick snack and then bedtime. She picked up the overnight bag and took one of the keys. "First floor. Follow the hall to your left," said Perseverone. "We hope your play is a pleasant one. Don't hesitate to let us know if there's anything else that we can do. We want your stay to be relaxing and enjoyable." "I'm sure it will be," said Mrs. Costin. While everyone headed across the lobby, Quinn lingered a moment by the counter. Perseverone picked up the fountain pen, dipped it into the ink pot, and was about to write further in the book when she realized Quinn was peering over the counter. She shut the book and smiled. Quinn offered a weak grin and then left the counter. Phony. As she walked, Quinn examined the elaborate woodwork. All the archways and walls were trimmed with carvings, faces of people and creatures with strange expressions. Outside, the desert was dark, transforming all the windows and large mirrors that reflected the side of the hotel. It reminded Quinn of a carnival funhouse, where you couldn't tell what was real from reflection. Midway across the lobby, a hand reached out and grabbed her wrist. Quinn gasped and swung around. It was the old man. She hadn't realized she'd been walking so close to him. He lowered his newspaper, revealing sunken eyes and skin so thin it was practically transparent. Veins and vessels wove in lacy patterns across his cheeks and hands. He drew her in close. "They're going to do it." Quinn tried to break free, but the man was surprisingly strong. She had to practically pry his fingers from her wrist. "They're going to pull the plug," he whispered. Quinn's pulse beat quicker. Strangers frightened her. She nodded and backed away. Turning quickly, she nearly ran into Persephone. The lobby was nearly empty. Quinn searched for Kara, but she had disappeared into the hallway. Quinn's chest tightened. She swallowed hard. She shouldn't have lagged behind. She shouldn't have left Kara's side. Persephone bent toward the old man and spoke softly. "They're all here, Mr. Marabelli." The old man's eyes were wide and glassy. "Everyone? Even Jeanette?" Persephone nodded. "Flew in this evening." She spun him around and wheeled him toward the elevator. No sooner had she hit the button than the cramped metal cage descended. The door opened and the orange-haired elevator operator appeared. Her smile was big and bright, just like the doorman's, just like Persephone's. And though all the employees in the in-between took some kind of smiling training. "Boarding pass?" she asked. Mr. Marabelli looked confused. Now, Sharon," said Persephone. "Stop teasing." She turned toward Quinn. "Sharon likes to pretend the elevator is an airplane." Quinn looked at Sharon and smiled awkwardly. It was odd. Though Quinn supposed it might be pretty boring to ride an elevator all day long, airplanes were definitely more exciting. Persephone pushed Mr. Marabelli into the cage and closed the gate. He watched Quinn, his eyes glassy and yellowing, as the elevator thrummed its way upward. As soon as the elevator disappeared, the lobby door burst open, and a tall, unshaven man staggered inside. He wore a black ball cap with a yellow rim and a penguin logo on it. The wavy black hair that poked out beneath the cap was matted. He seemed breathless and distraught, searching the space as though not quite sure where he was. Then his gaze settled on Quinn. He stared at her long and hard, like he somehow recognized her. His bloodshot eyes sent shivers skittering up Quinn's spine. She took a step backward and spun on her heels, hurrying to the corridor to catch up to Kara. Behind her, Quinn could hear Persephone's chirpy voice echoing through the lobby. "Welcome to In Between. We've been expecting you." Chapter 6. The bell rings. Quinn and Kara are caught in the rushing river of bodies streaming into the halls. The air is ripe with the aroma of half-eaten lunches, woolly jackets, and sweaty sneakers. Lockers clang open and shut. Quinn beams, her green eyes twinkle. "Did you see that goal? The ball grazed the side of my head." She pat Kara on the shoulder. "Great reflexes." "I don't know why you insist on picking me first," sighs Kara. "You could choose someone good like Taylor or Jackson." "I told you 1,000 times," said Quinn. "You are good. You just need to stay focused on the game." Quinn, quit cloud watching. "I wasn't cloud watching," scoffs Kara. She raised her chin indignantly. "I was studying the atmosphere. I think it might snow tomorrow." Quinn rolls her eyes. Though the idea of snow excites her, the slope might open early this year. She can't wait to hit the hills. Of course, her parents have taken away her first month of skiing because of those 2 failed science tests. She rips off her jacket. Her thumb zips over her lock and she opens the door. The locker is pickled with junk, a math textbook, a crumpled piece of paper, and a banana fallout. She picks them up and shoves them back inside, using her jacket to keep more stuff from escaping. "What do we have this afternoon?" Kara hangs her jacket on a hook. She checks herself in the pink magnet-framed mirror on the inside of the locker door. She smooths her already impossible smooth hair, then consults her timetable. She's attached below the mirror with 3 tulip-shaped magnets. Science, and then Spanish. Her books are stacked in a neat pile on the top shelf. She withdraws 2 textbooks and her binder. Our assignments are due. The air catches in Quinn's throat. She stares at Kara, her eye saucer wide. "You did your Spanish assignment, right?" says Kara. Quinn gulps. I meant to, but... Kara's shoulders drop. She tilts her head and exhales. Quinn can feel her heat rise into her cheeks. Her mind races like a mouse in a maze. She yanks her binder out of her locker and rips out a blank piece of paper. "Quick," she says. "Give me yours." "What?" Kara takes a step back. "No way." Come on, pleased Quinn. There's no time. Give me your paper. I'll change a few words. Senora Marquise will never know. Kara shakes her head. Nuh-uh. I reminded you every day last week. I even told you I'd help. I'm not going to give you my assignment. That's not fair. Quinn can already picture Senora Marquise as she tells the teacher her assignment is not done. The woman's face will sag with that drippy look of disappointment. She'll shake her head slowly and then walk away, like Quinn is a lost cause. Then Quick sees her parents, her mother, the dentist, her father, the lawyer. They are not disappointed, they are angry. They don't understand. Quinn must be brilliant, just like they are, just like Emma is. It's genetic, right? The teachers have it all wrong. Quinn's parents insist there's no learning disability. Quinn is just lazy, that's all. She's not trying hard enough. She should just work harder. They've already taken away a whole month of skiing. Now they'll take away the entire season. Quinn will have to spend Sundays with Aunt Deirdre and her stinky pet chinchillas while the rest of the family hits the slopes. A watery skin covers Quinn's eyes. Please, she whispers. Kara's lips are sewn tight. She is frowning hard. Quinn can tell that she doesn't want to bail her out. Not this time. But as they stare at each other, Kara softens. She opens her binder and takes out her assignment. The crowd is thinning. Most of the kids are in class. There's no time to copy here. Quinn will take the paper to science class. She sits near the back anyway. No one will notice her copying. It will be okay. Emma is skipping to her third grade class. She stops in front of Quinn. What are you guys doing? She asks cheerfully. Quinn snatches the paper from Kara. Nothing. Kara glares at Quinn. Then she turns towards Emma. Hey, Em. She shuts her locker and heads towards science class. Quinn tucks the assignment into her binder and hurries after Kara. She glances over her shoulder. She's left Emma standing alone in the hallway.